Hello everyone. I will walk you through how to convert EL diagram into a relational schema by using the Zagi retail complaint diagram. The diagram has the entity and its attributes and the relationships. It has, for instance, region and store has a one-to-many relationship, store and sales transaction as a one-to-many relationship, product and sales transaction as a many-to-many relationship, and so on and so forth. So I will be representing this diagram in a table. So let's get started. I will start by using the entity relationships to represent the entity region. So we have region, which is the entity, and its attributes region ID, region name, and region ID is the primary key. Then the second attribute, region name. That's that with region. Then the next one is store. So we have a store table. And the primary key in this case is store ID, and the second attribute is store zip. So I'm going to leave those rows for now in case I need it for the relationship. So the third entity that will be represented in this table is products. So we have a product and the primary key is product ID, product price, product name. The fourth attribute is the sales transaction. Sales transaction, and the primary key is transaction ID and transaction date. So the fifth key is vendor. So let's move this a little bit to create some space. We have the vendor. That's the fifth table, I guess. And the unique ID is vendor ID, and attribute, second attribute is vendor name. The next entity is category. So the table, category table, we have category ID as the primary key and category name. And the last one is customer. So we have the customer table. The primary key is customer ID, customer name, attribute, customer zip. So now we have the entity and its attribute in this table. The next step is to look at the relationship between them. So we have a one-to-many relationship between region and store. One region can be located in many store, or many store can be located in one region. And the cardinality many is facing the entity store. So our foreign key in this case will be region ID, which will be in the store table. So we have region ID, which is our foreign key. And while at it, we can just go ahead and connect, reference the region, the foreign key to the primary key, region ID. Then we have a one-to-many relationship between store and sales transaction. So many sales transaction can occur at one store, or one store can have many sales transaction. And the foreign key in this case would be our store ID, which would be under the entity table sales transaction. Store ID, store ID. So we can go, okay, have foreign key. Don't let me forget this. And we can go ahead and reference store ID to the primary key. Okay. Then the next one is the many to one relationship between sales transaction and customer. Many sales transaction can involve one customer, or one customer can be involved in many sales transaction. And a foreign key in this case would be customer ID. Remember, because the many is facing the entity, so our foreign key is going to be customer ID on the sales transaction. So we have our customer ID, which will be the foreign key, and that will be connected to sales transaction and customer. Okay, customer ID, foreign key to the table customer primary key. So we have then the next one is the many to many relationship between product and sales transaction. Many products can include many sales transaction, or many sales transaction can include many products. And in a many to many relationship, we combine the two primary key, which is the product ID and the transaction ID. So when we have two primary key, or we have two or more keys, it is called a composite primary key. So we will have another table for the two keys. So we have product ID and transaction ID. Product ID, transaction ID. So they are both primary key and foreign key. And the relation also have an attribute. So the attributes will also be in this table, which is quantity. Quantity. So we'll go ahead and combine and reference transaction ID with the primary key, and we have product ID. Oh, I don't need that. Product ID, foreign key with this. So that is settled. Okay. So we've completed the relationship between region, store, product, and sales transaction and customer. So we have a relationship between product and vendors, which is a many to one relationship. So it means many products can be supplied by one vendor. One vendor can supply many products, and the foreign key will be vendor ID, product, vendor ID, will be our foreign key. vendor ID, mm, right here. I think the last one is the many to one relationship between product and category. Many products can belong to one category, and a foreign key will be category ID. Products. We will duplicate this, and we have, let's see, a category ID, which is our foreign key, and we will combine with the with reference, I mean, the primary key. Oh, so category ID, reference, primary key. Okay. So we have our table as relational schema right here. It has the region, the attribute, and its relationship. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this row because we do not need it. Drag this up. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to delete this row, we don't need it. Delete this one, delete this one, delete this one, delete this one. So we have our relational schema. Thank you for watching this video.